So, what if I told you that the most valuable parts of our economy are now, well, completely invisible? We're talking about this silent revolution that has totally rewritten the rules of business. And believe me, it affects every single one of us.
Okay, let's put this into perspective. Just think back a decade ago. The biggest companies in the world, they were all about physical stuff, oil rigs, factories, things you could actually touch. Fast forward to today, and the giants are companies like Alphabet, Apple, and Microsoft. And their most valuable asset? You can't hold it. It's data. So the real question is, how on earth did this massive shift happen so fast? Well, the answer really comes down to one absolutely staggering number: 90%. Today, that's how much of a typical company's value is tied up in things you can't physically hold: their data, their software, their brand. And get this, just 50 years ago, that number was only 17%. We're not talking about a small adjustment here. This is a complete 180 on what makes a company valuable. This is what we're calling the 90% revolution. And to really get our heads around it, we need to look at the engine that's driving all of this, a super powerful concept called value monetization. So here's the game plan for this explainer. We're going to start by defining this revolution, then we'll see how it unlocks all this hidden revenue. We'll dive into some real-world examples, unpack the huge global challenges, and finally, we'll map out how any organization can find its way in this brand new world. All right, let's get right to the heart of it. We've been talking about the engine of this new economy, but what is value monetization really? Okay, at its core, it's basically the playbook for turning good ideas and innovations into actual cash. Think of it like a bridge, right? It connects having a brilliant idea over on one side to actually getting paid for it on the other. It's the difference between just creating value and actually capturing it. And this right here, this is the fundamental shift. For decades, data was kind of like the exhaust fume from a car, just a byproduct of doing business. But now, it's the fuel. It's the most important resource a company has. When you refine it and analyze it, it becomes digital capital. It's the core asset of the entire modern economy. This is where the real creativity kicks in. I mean, look at these models. It's not about a simple one-time sale anymore. It's all about building relationships. Subscriptions give you that predictable revenue. Freemium models let you build a huge audience that you can sell to later. And outcome-based pricing, that links your success directly to your customer's success. It's a completely different way of thinking. And if you're wondering about the scale of this whole thing, just look at this. In a massive economy like the European Union, the data economy already makes up over 4% of the entire GDP. We're talking trillions of dollars. So yeah, this isn't some niche tech trend. It's a fundamental pillar of the global economy. Okay, so theory is one thing, but how does this actually play out in the real world? Let's take a look at two completely different industries and see these principles in action. First up, healthcare. By analyzing patient data, hospitals and providers can seriously improve patient outcomes and make their own operations way more efficient. The market for this stuff is projected to more than double in just the next 6 years. It's a pretty amazing example of how monetizing data can create both profit and real social good. Now, let's flip over to the tech industry itself. You've got this massive rush to adopt AI. Like 80% of companies are jumping in. But here's the catch. The insane computing power you need to run these AI models is incredibly expensive, and it's squeezing the profits of 70% of these companies. So you get this wild paradox. You have to innovate with AI to survive, but if you don't figure out a smart way to monetize it, that very same innovation could put you out of business. So if your survival depends on monetizing smartly, the ultimate test is going global. But as you're about to see, that's where things get, well, incredibly complicated. What works in Silicon Valley doesn't just automatically work in Singapore or Stockholm. For a global company, it's like navigating a minefield. You have to handle dozens of different payment methods, you have to untangle these ridiculously complex tax laws in every single country, and you have to navigate this maze of data privacy rules like GDPR. Every single one of these is a massive roadblock. Okay, so now we're going to zoom all the way out because this isn't just about business challenges. The shift to a data-driven economy is having profound geopolitical consequences, and it's creating brand new forms of global inequality. This dynamic has led to this really powerful and pretty provocative new idea called information colonialism. The theory is that a handful of huge tech platforms, mostly based in the US and China, now basically control the entire global data pipeline. They're the ones gathering the data, processing it, and extracting the value from it, which creates this profound new power imbalance on the world stage. And this table here shows you exactly what that imbalance looks like. On one side, you have the data-producing nations. They take raw data and they refine it into these high-value products, turning themselves into global innovation hubs. But on the other side, you have the data-providing nations. They're exporting their raw data, but they're not capturing the value, which just makes the gap between them and the innovators wider and wider. So after hearing all that complexity and the big global issues, you might be thinking, how can anyone actually navigate this new world? Well, the good news is there's a clear four-step journey to building a winning strategy. The whole journey kicks off with exploration. You got to look inward and find the hidden data gems you already have. Next, you define a really sharp, clear business plan. Then comes execution, which often means finding the right partners to help you scale up. And then, and this is so crucial, you monitor everything. Because this isn't a one-and-done project. It's a constant loop of learning and adapting. When you boil it all down, it comes back to this one single idea. Your price has to line up with what your customer thinks it's worth. It's not about what it costs you to make something, it's about the value they get from it. The companies that really truly master this alignment, they're the ones who are going to win the future. So, we'll end with this question for you to think about. As data becomes the world's most valuable resource, shaping entire economies and shifting global power, the question of who controls it and who profits from it is really the question of who owns the future.